what's up? It's me, your girl, Daisy Dame. Welcome back to my channel. I'm genuinely blessed to have you here. Yesterday was the 1 year for the Idaho 4 situation. 1 year since that horrible tragedy. I watched the interview with the Gonzalez's and I wanted to just basically touch on that a little bit and discuss where we're at 1 year later and essentially just how things are for them and what they had said. Last year, 4 young lives were cut short, and it is a truly horrible event. Every time I try and put myself in the parents' shoes, I know that I can't. Not that I can't, really picture what it must be like, because I'm sure I could. I know how I would feel being without my pride and joy. So I have immense, love for all these families. I really do. And I'm definitely of the mindset that we shouldn't judge them for how they're handling it in their own ways, because this is a really, really terrible circumstance. One thing I found really interesting in this interview with the parents is that in the very beginning, which I don't think many people caught, so I wanted to bring it up. In the very beginning, they state that they've made really good friends with Kohlberger's friends that the Gonzalez's have, and that they've gotten really close with them. And I found that interesting, because if we were to consider if he was not, like, just by some, we're just using our minds to have a thought experiment, okay? Considering the possibility that he's innocent until, proven guilty, that's a fact. He's innocent until proven guilty. We have to assume that he's innocent, essentially. It's just interesting that they've gotten close with his friends. If we're imagining that he was not the one who has done this, it's curious that they're getting close with his friends, because maybe, as we had speculated or thought before, Brian has a much smaller role in this. Maybe he was just the one that got caught. I think that the parents are being very precise in their words for a reason. I find the dynamic between the two very interesting. You can tell that the father is bold and genuine, and the mother is thoughtful and caring, and they just seem like a really awesome duo. What breaks my heart is the fact that this type of thing even exists. I don't know how one human being could do that to another. I just don't. And it's unfortunate, because especially if there wasn't, of course there's never a good reason, but especially if it's something so petty, it would be just even more tragic. So over the last year, I have been following the coverage still. I have been watching what's coming out, and a lot of it, as expected, much like other cases, are things that are regurgitated or taken out of context. There was this blogger or author or whatever, and they were writing about this, and just the way they wrote about it was a bit sensationalized. And in it, they were talking about how Steve is essentially being a dad and looking for vigilante justice and like going out and talking to people himself and looking for answers himself. And honestly, even if he was, I couldn't blame him, because if it was my child, I know I would go to the ends of the earth to try and sort out what happened. So I just find that curious. And so in this interview, they say that they had become good friends with Kohlberger's friends. So if this is so, maybe if Kohlberger wasn't alone, they are trying to kind of sort out who would be the next in line, essentially. What I do know is I see a lot of people online that are very, very strong in their stance. Like, they have already made their minds up. They're already determined. And I would just say, be careful. Don't make up your mind too soon. Keep your eye on the ball. we must assume innocent until proven guilty, because that's our justice system. And though our justice system is flawed and it does need some revamping, it is the best thing we have at this time, right? So though it does feel at times, though there are problems at times, it is still likely the best thing that we got. I really just wanted to touch on my honest and open thoughts about the Idaho 4, because I think I just look at it a bit differently than others might. One thing I'd really be curious to know is, around when did they summon friends over? Around when did other people come over? And how many people were there as people arrived to help with the circumstance? Because it really feels as though there was a few people there longer and sooner than the ones that had showed up only afterwards, right? So what we know about this case is that the friends and families and parents were already aware, essentially before anyone even showed up to start assisting or helping. It was rumored that they had lost their lives due to a kablooey or something like that. And we do know, thanks to the coroner, that there was multiple items used. That fact alone could point to there being more than one person. Can one person use more than one item to make it appear that there could be more than one person? Of course. But again, just thought experiments, just considering all these little things. Like I said, I've been watching the coverage since the start, and I had my thoughts here and there, but I really don't report on these things all the time. I really don't do these videos all the time. I don't want to be a bother or a burden to the families. I'm never trying to disrespect them. So that's why I kind of just, make a video here and there, and it's not consistently over and over and over again. I don't want them to feel like, they're probably already overwhelmed as can be, but I don't want to be a part of the barrage that is just happening. Another point I'd like to make is that Ethan and Zaina definitely seem like two people that I might be friends with. Everyone in the house does, pretty much, but especially Ethan and Zaina, they just seem like my type of people. I think they're adorable. I think their love was so sweet and beautiful. And I know that their love and their love story will forever be remembered. And though this is a tragedy, I know that people can take solace in the fact that Ethan and Zaina were together, Maddie and Kaylee were together, and these are two groups of people who very much loved each other and cared for each other a whole lot. What do I think about the frozen shock phase? I think this one is a little tricky. I think that even the boyfriend of said person came out and said that they essentially just wrote their statement for them, that they had taken it out of context, that they had twisted a lot of words. And there was this idea before that Dylan's boyfriend might have been there because there was a supposed Snapchat at a certain time with a time stamp and everything. So it's just curious. That's why I wonder how many people were there earlier, how many people were there with those two that so fortunately got to wake up the next morning. Life is hard, it's frustrating, but it's also precious. I know that it's in times of hardships that we get to see that glimmer of golden within us all, that makes us human, that creates empathy for one another, that just shows that these families are not alone. They never have been, they never will be, and my heart breaks for them. I've prayed for them over the year, and I hope in their hearts they feel that, and they know the prayers are so genuine. I could not continuously discuss this topic because I feel like it would have been bad for my mental well-being as well, to constantly have to consider what type of impact it would have on me if it happened in my life. It's hard. It's hard. The king is my everything. He's my baby boy. And I know they feel that way about their girls. And Ethan. And I also want to state that no matter what state the parents are in, the parents' lives are their own. We shouldn't put that on their children. In fact, it should give us a better understanding as to where the children are at and how they got there. And when discussing the Idaho 4, we also have like this adjacent story of Brian Kopacka and the whole circumstance there, where the day that Brian was leaving and going back home, or going back home to PA, there was a circumstance where this ex-military man was said to be holding certain people in their home and threatening certain things. And I found that whole circumstance really curious too, because when you listen to the audio, and I've been watching other channels like really deep dive into that, it's pretty wild. The whole circumstance behind that is really strange. The fact that it was the same day feels like some type of distraction, some type of event. And I'm just speculating. I have no idea. Okay, I'm just putting my thoughts out there. That's all. But whatever is going on with Brian Kopacka, it's very curious. When listening to the audio and all of that, it seems as though, you know, he wasn't really doing too much. Like, he wasn't really being aggressive. The roommates got out. Everything was fine, as it seemed. And there was stray things flying around, and it's very interesting because they didn't even clear that floor. There were people in the apartments, you know, whether it was adjacent or nearby. They were hearing what was going on. They were listening in, and one of those people in those apartments right next door actually kept notes about what was happening at what time. And not to go too long about this, not to go on too much about this, but I just find it really curious. The circumstance is very strange. This other circumstance is also very strange. I always felt as though if Brian were to be involved, he wouldn't be the main person involved. He would be a side character in my eyes. He would be someone that assisted. He looks like that type of person. Again, I really don't know. I'm just speculating. These are just my thoughts. So just because he looks like that type of person doesn't mean he is that type of person. So many people look all kinds of ways, and they are the type of person you would never imagine. So if we can learn anything from this whole ordeal, it would be to please stay safe. The Gonzalez's really want us to understand is that these kids are the ones that did everything right. They locked their doors. They took care of themselves. They had a chaperone to walk. They had a safe ride home. They did all the things that they're supposed to do. And I understand why people are calling them kids. They're younger, but these are adults, okay? And I'm glad that these adults were adulting properly. I'm glad that they had a good head on their shoulders. I find it very curious that, especially in these cases lately, it always seems to involve someone that's looking too deep into something, someone that really cares so much about something, and that just happened to also be embedded in this case. Just a thought, just really curious. I've kind of been letting my thoughts ruminate over the year and to see where I stand with this. And I'm kind of in the same place. I feel as though your proximity to danger really matters. I feel as though Brian must be somewhat a part of this because he was seen as a probability, or, you know, there might be something that does connect him, but we fully don't understand what that is. I do, in my heart, believe that officers and others know more, obviously, than they can share. And I think they know a lot more than the public. There's a lot that they're holding back. And there's been many times where the officials basically create the situation to allow rumors to happen and flourish, or courts create the situation to allow rumors to flourish. So stop blaming YouTubers maybe and consider those actions possibly. What I can say for sure is that my heart goes out to these families. I really do hope that you have swift justice. I hope that if he's the one that did do this, that things go quick, that you can close that chapter in your life. I know that there's no closure in this. I know that there's no end date to this type of pain. But I pray for any little bit to make things easier. I really do. The Idaho 4 circumstance happened. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Please leave a like, subscribe, and do all that's free. It really means a lot to me. Now is the best time to become a member. It's only $2 holla. Check it out in the description down below. It really helps me out and ensures that I get some compensation for the hard work that I do, and I do bust my cojones, I promise you. I'm also now on Whatnot, DameVonBonDaisy. You can get my artwork there, which is our merch and our tie-dyes. You can get those on TikTok as well. Also, I'm working on something for YouTube, so don't worry. Hopefully, very soon, it'll be accessible on this platform as well. Until then, please do check out Whatnot. Please do check out TikTok. Even if you're just window shopping, even if you just want to see what my art looks like, if I'm a good artist, if I'm actually sucky, if it matters at all, you should check it out. I also have accessories and a lot of other fun things. So, thank you for coming to your very own deprogramming session. Stay awake, stay aware, stay well, and do take care of your loved ones. Let them know you love them. You don't gotta wait till things get weird. I love you. Boo 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 doo. See you soon.